Hi, Dan from DJMoore Lofts, and one of the questions I get asked is, does my loft need stills? Now, typically, we're, I would say, old school in the sense of, yes, traditionally we use a lot of steel and timber. There is systems out there like Telebeam and other companies like EcoTruss and bits and bobs that are doing it more in like a Meccano set style kind of construction, which is fine, each their own. But for me, I'm a chipper by trade, and personally I just like traditional in the sense of steels and timber. Now, on a Victorian house, typically there's only one piece of steel on a mid-terrace Victorian property, and that's on the on the ridge beam, typically to take the dormer roof, and then the floor can mainly be done in timber. Now, on something like a truss roof, like what I'm stood in at the moment, it's not unusual to have multiple steel beams. Now, this house is not so wide, so this one's about 6 meters wide. So what that means is we've got an eaves beam that goes from left to right, another eaves beam on this side which goes left to right, which takes up the wall. Now, being a loft conversion specialist, some people would just span straight from there to there. But what that might mean is you've got a massive floor depth, i.e. the size of the floor joist to get from there to there would have to be massive because of the length of it. So what we opt to do is put an additional steel in the middle to split the span. So instead of the joist running from there to there, by us putting this small bit of steel in the middle allows us to take 2 meters of the span there and 4 meters of the span there. So we're not spanning the full 6 meters. So something like that. Whereas on another house that would be wider than 6 meters typically, we might do what we call a spine beam. So we'd run a steel from the front of the house to the back, and that would almost like create a third or two halves of the loft. So then we could do the same principle that we're doing here, but joining it on the centre beam and then doing the exact same on the other. So same thing again, that you're not running 10 meters of steel from gable to gable, because the steel would be massive, then you wouldn't have access to the storage area, not only the costs. So hopefully that helps talk about some of the steel options and stuff like that. I appreciate that's a minefield, but like I said, traditionally most lofts have steel in it. It just depends on how much. Typically some of the older properties, you can get away with minimal steel, doing it a lot in timber, but that's typically because they're a little bit smaller and smaller spans. Hope that helps. Don't forget to have another look through some of our FAQs and try and help, and we'll see you again in the next video. Enjoy.